Alright, so we've done 3 shows over here in the last couple of weeks, and we were working with one band for all 3 different shows, and here we are checking stuff back in just to make sure everything works okay and that there were no issues. So what we're going to be looking at on the check-in process, and if you don't do this, obviously you don't have to do it, but it's usually a pretty good idea to do it. What we do is we're going to go through and just make sure that everything still works as it should. Everything worked fine when we shut everything down for the event. Alright, and over here on the 16.4.2 we're going to pull the tape up on it and retape it. We've got another show to do here in about 4 days, and we want to make sure that the board is set up for the next show. So a check-in process can take it could take maybe 30 minutes or so. I mean, for us it could take 30 minutes or it could take several hours. Our UPS did not power on at all, and this is what we connect our console to and a lot of the outboard stuff. So the UPS did work on the 2 previous shows, but for whatever reason on the last show this didn't work. What it came down to be was the back behind here is the battery. Actually, there's 2 batteries, and they've got the negative and positive leads that go into the UPS itself. And at some point during shipment, those leads came off, and which basically when I would go to turn the power on, there was absolutely nothing. I plugged the unit in thinking that, oh well, maybe the batteries are completely dead, but that certainly was not the issue. So all I do is pull the front off, just take those 2 leads, plug them back in, and when I plugged them back in, you could tell they seated correctly. So I'm not too sure if they were seated incorrectly when I got this unit. But anyway, the UPS now is fully functional, so we're ready to take that back out into production. So as you can tell, things can get to be sort of a mess. So we've had to unload a lot of the stuff. Not everything is unloaded. We've unloaded only part of it. We'll test part of it and we're done. We'll just put it aside and get the rest of it out and take care of those things. So anyway, let's test some speakers. Okay, here we're using it's by Radial, and it's just a passive box. This is what we use to, if we want to connect our laptops or MP3 players into the system. And it's got a XLR output on it, which is what we're going to use, which is going to be mono. Let's see what we got here. Got some test cables here. We're just going to pick an input to use. We're just going to connect it right into it. Okay, we're going to power that thing on. Alright, let's get our wiring set up between the sub. This is the sub it's sitting on, and we're going to connect into one of the top speakers. Alright, top speaker works. There we go. We'll take out the top. So I don't know how well you can hear the bass, but it's coming through good. Alright, top speaker works, sub works. Let's check the bottom speaker. Because the camera's not directly in front of the horn, it's way off axis. You're not going to be able to hear a lot of the high end. Everything sounds good. One of the things that we do after an event when we're checking stuff in is we want to make sure that all the mic cases are opened up to make sure if there's any kind of moisture that was in there when we closed the case up the night before. We want to make sure all this moisture gets out of there. We don't want anything wet. So what happens a lot of times at night, if you're doing a show in the evening time, is the humidity. If it's high humidity, a lot of condensation can start occurring on the case itself. It can occur on tables, but the condensation can also occur on the microphones. So these, I don't believe anything was on these, but we just want to make sure that there's any kind of moisture, the moisture has a chance to get off of the cases. Off the microphones. And then this down here is no exception. So this case here, we just want to make sure that everything has a chance to completely dry out. So a lot of the cases that you see here, we're going to keep open. I'm going to move this one. Anyway, all the cases are going to stay open so they can dry out. All right, so sometimes things go wrong, either at the event or bringing stuff back in to check in. And this, now I think you probably remembered seeing this this cover that we use on the 8004 sub. Built this not too long ago, but what I did was pulling the sub out of the van. I knocked the cover off, and when I did that, now let's see here, you can see this or not. When I did that, it caused this this bumper here to crack. I'm going to have to re-glue this, clamp it, and let it sit overnight. But the gluing should make it stronger than what it was originally. So it's just one of those things. Okay, one of the other things we look for when we're checking stuff in is how the cabinets look. As you can tell here, over the past few years of having these speakers, they've not endured abuse, obviously, but just this is ancillary marks, general wear and tear. So what we like to do is go through just to make sure nothing really stands out that's major. Yeah, see, all this stuff here looks pretty much normal. Let's see, didn't really see anything. Yeah, I want to make sure that the front, there's no like heavy damage on the front or anything. Maybe something shifted during transport. Nope. All this looks good. What do we got here? Put a mark. It looks sort of new here. Have to touch that up. All right, you should always keep some spare cables around that are in your shop or workspace only. For example, none of this stuff here is used for production. I've got probably a dozen of these cables I keep around here just to test stuff in to help facilitate stuff, or if I need to practice setting something up or getting something set up for a show, I can work with these cables instead of having to drag the stuff out of the production boxes. Alright, so one of the things we need to look at is with the microphone stands. We want to make sure that everything functions on them. So we're just planning for the next show. All right, here's the portable work lights we use. We're doing outdoor shows. Lights up the area on the loadout and breaking stuff down. So 3 bars, 3 out of 4. That's good. That should last several hours. All right, looks like that's going to hold pretty good. Worst case snares, I just take this whole thing off of here and put another one on. All right, so we're going to be pulling off some tape that was used to mark the cables at the last events that we did, and all we're doing is pulling off one side because one side is all that was involved in it. And all we do is pull it off, and we're just going to replace it with some new tape. That's so in case we need to mark on it, we can. So that's one down. And many thanks to Craig and Dennis for their gracious support and help during these past several shows. And if you're wanting to know, we're using board tape on this. It is not masking tape. There's a big difference with how the tape pulls up after it's been on there for a while. Board tape does not leave a residue, and masking tape does. Okay, even though we're checking stuff back in, we're also trying to prep for another show in a few days. So we're getting the console set up over here. We're going to be mixing for the Groovinators, which I think a lot of you have probably seen in the past videos. They're an excellent band, certainly groovy. And we're going to set up the console. I believe we're going to use all 16 channels for their setup. Alright, we're going to do a quick setup on the monitors for the upcoming show. So on the stage right, which I believe would be mostly the keys. So we're going to set up, so this is just something to get them started. And, we'll start off with a little bit of guitar. Some vocals. And the keyboardist has his own monitors for his keys, but let's just add little something to get them started. All right. Let's see here, the center. Yeah, okay, that's from the last time. Let's just clear that out. Okay, the center, that should be a saxophone player. And a little bit of that, maybe a little bit of the keys. That's some guitar maybe. And let's see his vocals. Right, his vocals. A little bit of the lead vocals in here as well. A little bit of backing. All right. So let's start with that. All right, on the stage left side. Ooh, quite a bit there. I'm not too sure who that was for. All right. Alright, so the stage left side, that should be the bassist and lead singer, I believe. This, that. Yeah, maybe a little bit of keys here as well. Got the keys, a little bit of vocals. Alright, let's start with that, and let's go back to the drum mix, but let's reset all this out of here. Alright, the drum mix, we're going to do some guitar, let's see, maybe a little bit of sax. I don't know if you can hear the keys from the keyboard of Stam's amplifier, but alright. Okay, alright. So our monitor setup sort of said just a preliminary setup on it, and once things get started, we'll go through the monitors at that time and just fine tune some things here. Alright, so what I'm doing here is laying these down like this. This is going to give me another floor to put stuff on. You can tell the amplifier rack, now granted it's not too heavy, it's sitting on top of that wooden cover that we made some time ago. The wooden cover for the sub. All right, sometimes it's easier just to take along a few cables than it is to bring the whole case for the cables. For example, these speaker cables, I've got 5 of them here. We only need 4 for the monitors, bring a spare. And that yellow, the yellow SOOW power cord, all of those are sitting in a rolling case that weighs about 300 pounds. And for this show that we're doing, I just need that long power cable and I just need a few speaker cables. So that's why sometimes it's easier just to toss a few cables in than to bring the whole case. Alright, the tarps are to cover the front half speakers. The 2 tops and the sub. Now, not so much if it rains. Hopefully it won't, it's not supposed to. But, I'll show you here with the tarps, we're using the ones that have the silver on one side, and really it doesn't matter what the color is on their side, it could be brown or black. But what we do is we cover the speakers with these with the silver side out. And that reflects a lot of the radiation and heat off of the speaker. So we don't want these speakers sitting out in the sun because they're black. They'll take in an awful lot of heat. They can be very hot. So we keep them covered, silver side out with the tarps until we're ready to turn on the system and do the show. Alright, this should be about all that we need to do an outdoor show. Just a couple of tops, a sub, 16-channel console, and 4 monitor sends. And the event isn't for about maybe 2 more days, but I usually like to load early to make sure I've got everything. It gives me time to make sure there's like no other add-ons that sort of show up. So anyway, we got about a couple more days. All right, thanks for watching.